you. Thank you, everyone. Well, I want to start by saying that when I think of impact, I think of JFK. And I think about these very specific words.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the others too.
I'm originally from Mexico, and I was born long after JFK had passed. But his actions, his legacy, and the efforts of all the minds that responded to his challenge of we go to the moon, not because it is easy, but because it is hard, they have influenced me. They have influenced me deeply. When you think about it, his words sent the minds of millions soaring for what seemed to be an impossible dream, but they made it a reality. They got it done. And their actions and their efforts shattered preconceptions, collided what seemed to be opposite perspectives. And they transformed the mindset of millions, including those of educational systems. And by doing so, they sent technology and innovation to new heights. It indeed was a challenge to mankind. But it created such a shockwave that we can still feel the influence today. We can still feel the effects on a daily basis. I know that it affects my life every day. And I know this because through the very same technological advancements and innovation process that started with those words, with those efforts, the very same technology is what allows me to be influenced, to hear, to see, to understand that legacy. By shooting for the moon, it provided a beacon of light around which many ideas could rally around. And those who wanted to lead had a very clear objective to do so. By embracing technology and innovation, we can have impact. Technology allows our minds to soar. Technology allows us to communicate with millions within seconds. And technology allows information to transcend space and time. Innovation allows us to shatter preconceptions, break stereotypes, and to look at options and solutions for problems that seem to be impossible to solve. But by embracing technology and innovation, we can have impact. Northwest Arkansas offers or has shown what happens when someone embraces technology, embraces innovation, and instead of running away from the fire, they run into the fire. Instead of looking at a challenge and walking away from it, they see an opportunity to lead, an opportunity to innovate. And by doing so, they become titans of industry. We have many examples like that in Northwest Arkansas. We can start with a 5 and dime store, small store in Bentonville, Arkansas, that redefined the word retail, that grew to be a corporation of a multi-billion corporation that now employs more than 2.1 million people, more than the population of Houston, that serves 200 million customers every week in more than 10,400 stores in more than 25 countries, redefining what we call retail management. When you think of a little chicken operation that started in Springdale, Arkansas, and became a Fortune 500 company by embracing innovation, by embracing technology, now they lead the world when it comes to food processing standards for chicken, beef, and pork. Now they serve and provide their services in more than 130 countries. They have more than 400 facilities. They have now lead the world in what is called the global protein market. When you think of a small trucking company, which started with no more than five trucks 7 refrigerating trailers in 1961, led by a wonderful couple, Janelle and J.B. Hunt, who embraced technology and innovation. They started their business in 1961. By 1989, they were the leaders in innovation and technology when it comes to transportation. They introduced the innovative multimodal service, and they actually partnered with railroads and now offer complement solutions and logistic solutions to their customers worldwide. These are titans of industry that started by looking at a challenge, small challenge, but they saw an opportunity to lead. They got things done because they were hard. Now we have an opportunity, we have a challenge, some may say, of expanding the reach and access of education. We have the technology, we have the capacity, we have the capabilities, we have the disposition to solve this, to expand education throughout our state, throughout the world. But in our state, we face one challenge. We face one challenge that we need to solve. And that challenge we call the last 10 feet.
Thank you. So I get to talk with you for a few minutes about everybody's favorite subject, statistics. The good news is that I also get to talk with you about one of your true favorite subjects, which is yourself, us. So these are some statistics about us. And there's a phrase that I need to use, and it's hard for me to say, so I'm going to go slowly. 4-year degree completion rate. That doesn't roll trippingly off the tongue, but I need to explain why that's important. So in the United States, we look at 4-year degree completion rate as an estimate of how effective and efficient our education system is, especially in the public space. Public universities are the most accessible to people, and we want an educated populace. So if we look at the 4-year degree completion rate, we can see that in the U.S., about 30% of the people who start a 4-year degree finish it in 4 years. There's all sorts of reasons why we don't finish in 4. We change our major, we take a semester off, we add another minor. So if we give people 6 years, it doubles to about 60%. In Arkansas, it's 20% in 4 years, and even if we double it by giving people 6, it's 40%. What about 2-year degrees? The national average, it takes people in the U.S. about 6 years, 20% of the people, to complete it, 22% for us. So we're pretty consistent with the U.S. rates in terms of our 2-year degrees. But let's look at the 4-year degrees kind of differently. Let's compare ourselves to the rest of the 49 states. I like to call this the land of opportunity. We have some opportunities, some yes space, some helping people find and realize their dreams, some building of community. But not just comparing ourselves to others, what's the meaning to us? 14% of Arkansas residents have a bachelor's degree. If we look at those 2-year degrees, 6% of us have a 2-year degree. 24% of us started a degree, and for some reason we're not able to finish it. 35% of us have high school diplomas. Those rates, according to the governor, are woefully low. And the governor has asked, as most governors in most states in the last several years, can we not double that? Let's take that rate of college degreed residents and double it. So for those of you who have short-term memory problems like I do, let me remind you, if our rate is currently at about 14 or 15% and we double it, by 2025, we'd be at the 30% rate that the U.S. was in 2010. Okay? We've got some opportunities. And here's why this matters to us. The more high school and college degree people we have in this state, the more likely industry is to come here and bring jobs here and bring their facilities to us rather than what we see happening way too often, which is our people going to college. I see students who go to college, get their degree, and they have to interview other places outside the state of Arkansas because we have fewer employers than they can find in other major areas. The other wonderful thing that happens if we get the college degree percentage up in the state is that we're more likely to get pay raises and to get promotions in the jobs we already have. And parents who've gone to college are more likely to have kids who go to college. So we're paying it forward. We're doing a favor for the entire state if we can get the percentage of people who go to college successfully elevated. And if that's not enough, just think about the kind of discourse that we have here today. When you go to the coffee shop and you can talk to somebody who studied something you didn't, biomechanics, engineering, accounting, accounting wasn't my major, psychology, whatever it is, the more interesting people we have in our community, the more varied the discourse, the more informed the citizenry is who puts people into the legislature and votes on the things that we think are important to us. So it matters to us a lot to get the number of people who successfully go to college higher. And what do we have to bring to that? So we're going to run to the fire. Some of us see a challenge and go, whoa, that's where I want to go. So what do we have to offer to get the degree rate higher? Well, some of you may be familiar with the Arkansas Research and Educational Optical Network, which I like to call ARON. And to me, I've decided that that stands for Arkansas Online. It doesn't, but it does to me. And what's happened in the last 5 years is we've managed to connect with sort of the mother lode of internet. It's big and it's wide and it's fast. All of the public 4-year and 2-year institutions in the state of Arkansas. That means that we can send materials, conferences, all sorts of opportunities for us to collaborate across the state. So this is a really good beginning for us in educating our population. In addition to that, we also have some things that are near and dear to our heart, educators. We have people at the University of Arkansas who get really geeky about learning and having people learn online. I sit in conversations with people who get excited about learning and students and technology and what could happen if we get all those in the same space. And what's the potential for getting that 40, 50, 60% that I'd like to see us have of college-educated residents. In addition to that, we also have a state legislature who's pretty supportive. They actually fund the public universities in the state. They funded most of that network that you saw. They fund parts of our salaries. We kind of like these folks, and we like the fact that they like education. We also have those titans of industry that Javier mentioned, people who have experience with getting things from one place to another, who know how to track things, who know how to use internet well. And in addition to that, one of my favorite things, we have people who really want to learn. We have residents in this state who are committed to learning. They have computers. They'd love to take that commitment, attach it to that computer, find an online degree, and get themselves the college education that they weren't able to get either earlier in their lives or by coming to one of the residential facilities. So if we have all of those, why haven't we solved the problem? What's missing? What might that last 10 feet be? Well, this is part of the problem. If you look at broadband adoption, which is the number of households who have high-speed internet, across the U.S., the average is 60%, because we have to add it all up and divide. But in the state of Arkansas, or using Northwest Arkansas as for illustrative purposes, this is kind of surprising. In Northwest Arkansas, and I threw in Pulaski County and Little Rock for comparison, we don't have any who are at the 80 to 100%. The 60 to 80% has 2 counties. It's not ours. It's also not Pulaski. We're in the 40 to 60% broadband adoption. We have 10 more that are in the 20 to 40. We have 2 counties in Northwest Arkansas who have 0 to 20% broadband adoption. That means that there are communities where you can't get what you need online. Why does that happen? Well, it actually is part of the profit motivation, I guess, is an acceptable term. If you're an internet provider, you want to go someplace where you're going to have a lot of people, right? Because the more people, the more money you make in that location. But the counties, oddly enough, that are the furthest away from that RON network are the counties we most need to reach and the ones that are the least profitable for the internet providers. So this is part of the challenge for us. Think about the opportunities that we've discussed here today to have global impact. And taking education globally, any place on the planet, is an exciting concept. But we have that same need right here in our own backyard. We're not educating the citizens of our state yet, and we might want to think about going there first. So that last 10 feet is about how we hook the content to the students.
So imagine you're a student in one of the rural communities in Arkansas, and you're going to high school, and you have set your mind in going to college. You realize that your college preparedness level is not where it should be, and that you would benefit from taking some college prep courses that you could take online by what you're trying to finish your high school degree. But you don't have access to this network. Your school does not have access to the Aaron network, and your broadband connection at home cannot handle the rich media that it's going to be put through these courses. But you realize that by taking these courses, we put you in contact with other college-bound students. We put you in contact with faculty in a college-level education. You would start experiencing the rigor of a college education. And you want that. You have the predisposition. You want to do this. We have, like Rebecca said, we have all the ingredients. But the Aaron network, which goes right to your neighborhood, is not plugged into your house, is not plugged into your high school. You simply can't afford that. It's a great dream. We need to make it a reality.
Imagine if you're a single parent. You're raising 2 children. You live in the same small town where you grew up because you love that small town. You want your kids to have the same amazing teachers and coaches that you had. Your kids can walk to school. Their grandparents live in the same small town. You work at the same business where your father worked. It's a good life for you. You fully intended to go to college. Life kind of came along. But as your kids are getting older, you really want to stress the importance for them of going to college, because you know if you model that behavior, they're more likely to do it as well. And you go to the local community college, and they have the classes that you need to get a college degree, but the classes are offered during the day. Or the few classes they offer in the evening are going to take you away from the kids, where you want to be there when they do their homework. You want to cook dinner. You want to put them to bed. That's when you need to be able to access courses, is when the kids are in bed. You have internet access at the house, but it's just barely enough to send a little bit of email every now and then, and there's really not any other options for you because you live in a community that's not deemed profitable for internet access. So the community college may be in your backyard, 10 feet away. You've got the computer in the next room with internet access, but it's not enough. It's only 10 feet, but it might as well be an ocean. What do we do?
Well, just like the moon was for the space program a clear objective, enlarging the access for education, really expanding the flexibility of education is what can be the objective for Arkansas. This is a challenge that we are willing to take. This is a challenge that we are unwilling to postpone. And this is a challenge that we will win. We just need to get engaged. We need you to get engaged.
So for us, the impact that we want to have is closing that last 10 feet. We'd love to have your help. Thanks.
Thank you.